Alright guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another preview and prediction video. Today we're talking Tyson Fury and Arslanbek Makhmudov, this fight here. If we talk about the fight first, I feel like it's nowhere near as built up as a normal Tyson Fury fight. I don't think there's been that sort of hype and excitement around this event that I thought there might have been when it first got announced, purely because it was Tyson Fury. Maybe a lot of that's predicated on the fact that it's on Netflix and not on DAZN. DAZN do a lot more on YouTube and through other outlets to put exposure in these events. I haven't seen that so much as a Netflix sort of promo. The other thing is it's Arslanbek Makhmudov. I can understand why people aren't too excited about this, but if you compare this fight to Derek Chisora and Deontay Wilder last week, there's no comparison in the hype and build up to this fight, which I am surprised because Tyson Fury normally can, no matter who he's fighting, bring in a crowd, bring the entertainment, bring the excitement around the fight. Especially when John Fury got involved a few months back, I thought, yeah, this one's really going to heat up. But for me, it hasn't really reached those heights, which is surprising. But we are going to do a preview and prediction of this fight. There is a lot of talking points. We're not going to do as in-depth as normal, not as much film study and stuff like that that I would do for a closer fight. For me, it's not necessary. I don't think it needs to be in-depth, this video. I've got a few talking points that I think we really need to talk about. But if you all could first, head down the bottom there, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave all your thoughts in the comments below. Like I said, I think this fight doesn't need that in-depth sort of tactical breakdown. We know how the two fighters are going to approach this fight. We know the flaws that both fighters have. I think this fight has a lot of predication on the way Tyson Fury approaches this fight, and we're going to talk about that first. Tyson Fury coming into this fight hasn't fought in 15 months. In that 15 months, in my opinion, he very much let himself go into retirement, and now it's building back up to, the fighter that maybe he once was. The fighter he once was, for me, we haven't seen in quite a while. I mean, the last time we saw a good Tyson Fury, for me, and you could argue it was the best Tyson Fury we've ever seen. It was the lost Alexander Usyk in the first fight. I think you get a split decision against Alexander Usyk, that is a good result. For most people, that is a very good result. You compare that, you compare the two fights from Fury to the two fights from Dubois, you can see the levels of, between Tyson Fury and Daniel Dubois, and you can see how good Alexander Usyk is. The other ones you look at are the Deontay Wilder fights, but they're very few and far between. And if you're looking at the last time we saw a Tyson Fury victory, you've got to go even further back than 15 months. You're looking at the back end of 2023 when he beat Francis Ngannou. If you're looking at the last time he looked good in a victory, you're looking at the Derek Chisora fight at the very back end of 2022. So, these wins and these good performances from Tyson Fury have been very far in between. You add into that this 15-month layoff, and you're going into this fight where you are very much the favorite against Makhmudov. For me, it's starting to spell a little bit of danger. I think a lot of people, including Tyson Fury, might be overlooking this fight. You look online, you look at people talking about this fight. It is Tyson Fury's return. It is Tyson Fury to come in and get a knockout, beat Makhmudov, put on a show. This is the entree before the main, which is AJ or Alexander Usyk. And when you put all those things together in the heavyweight division against Makhmudov, who for the first 3 or 4 rounds is going to be an absolute live cannon. He's going to be at his most dangerous, and he's going to be looking for a stationary opponent to really, really lay into. That's when he's going to be his best. And although Makhmudov can't last the 12 rounds, if you're not coming in switched on, if you're a little bit sluggish, if you're a little bit ring rust in those opening few rounds, if you're overlooking your opponent, that's very, very dangerous. And that's, for me, the biggest thing about this fight is Tyson Fury being complacent in this fight, because Tyson Fury will be looking at this fight as that entree before the main. We've seen Tyson Fury in fights like this before. Francis Ngannou, whatever you think of that performance, Tyson Fury is very lucky to come out of that with a victory. Like, very lucky. Most people actually believe that Francis Ngannou won that fight. I'm not sure I believe Francis Ngannou won it, but Tyson Fury doesn't really have a claim to say he went out and won it either. It was more of a draw, if anything. And that's Francis Ngannou, who's not a boxer. That's Francis Ngannou, although a combat sports athlete, and a very, very good one, not a boxer. And we saw what Anthony Joshua did to Francis Ngannou. So for Tyson Fury, we've seen complacent efforts from him before. We've seen, lackluster performances from him before. And it's not as though Tyson Fury, for me, has always been this guy that's been untouchable. He gets hit a lot in most of his fights. Alexander Usyk nearly knocked him out back end of the first fight. We had him knocked down 3 or 4 times over the 3 fights against Deontay Wilder. And lots of people have very strong opinions on how Deontay Wilder sort of factors into top heavyweights of all time or the top heavyweights of the past 20 years. Some people have very strong opinions on where Deontay Wilder actually categorizes himself. So for Tyson Fury to overlook your opponent, Arslanbek Makhmudov, who at one point was 18 victories and 17 knockouts, it's a very dangerous game. And, if you want a comparison, because you're probably thinking, oh, well, you know what, Makhmudov isn't that guy. He's so far the underdog. He's nowhere near the level of Tyson Fury. I mean, February 11th, 1990 at the Tokyo Dome, Mike Tyson was thinking the exact same thing against Buster Douglas. But Buster Douglas going into that fight, a 42-1 underdog, and ends up knocking out Mike Tyson. At that point, Mike Tyson hadn't actually lost a fight. So, it's a dangerous game to be playing, coming in complacent, thinking that you're just going to go in and waltz the fight. So that's my opinion on the mentality going into this fight. Now, if we actually talk about the tactical side of these fighters, if we talk about the way these two guys will approach the fight, the first thing I want to talk about is the weight thing. Tyson Fury, the last time we saw him was at a career high in weight against Alexander Usyk, 282 odd pounds. That's different to the average sort of late 250s, early 270s that Tyson Fury sits at. Of course, there is a few obscurities to that. I think he was 276, 277 against Francis Ngannou. So he's not opposed to going over that sort of weight, but in terms of an average, that's where he sits. And I think that's where he's best. And I think that's the best way to approach this Makhmudov fight. I think it's a two-play game there, because not only is Tyson Fury at his best when he is mobile, he's agile, he's electric, he's bouncing around the ring, he's able to move laterally, he's in and out of the pocket, constantly just a menace around the ring. Makhmudov always looks bad against those people. I mean, Ajit Kabayel, that small, agile, quick, electric fighter, he couldn't get near. He couldn't box with that guy. And Tyson Fury, if he's able to be that sort of quick-moving fighter, he's going to look much, much better against Makhmudov. The last thing he wants to do is pack on those few extra pounds like he did for Usyk. I got that. You wanted to put on those pounds, fight Alexander Usyk, be able to dish out a bit more power, because Alexander Usyk's going to be in front of you. You're going to be able to land shots on him. Add this bit of extra power, try and get him out of there. It didn't work, but you got to understand that was his game plan for that fight. That's not going to work here, in my opinion. You could add those extra pounds on, but ultimately you're going to be more stationary and probably more at risk of being hit with one of those Makhmudov bombs. Makhmudov's not a quick fighter. He's not going to be able to land those thunderous shots quickly. They take a while to get there. So be mobile, be able to move laterally. And I think that all comes down to him being a good average weight. Now, Makhmudov, he sits at around mid-260s as well. So you're not going to be giving up a lot of poundage. You sit at those mid-260s where you look best anyway. You're going to match his weight and you're going to be mobile. So I think that's the best way to approach this fight for Tyson Fury. There is clear problems with Makhmudov. We've seen it. Makhmudov was at one point, that monster in the heavyweight division. He was the boogeyman in the division. 19 odd victories, 18 knockouts. And then he faces Ajit Kabayel. And you can see the levels. Ajit Kabayel, an unbelievable boxer, as well as an unbelievable heavyweight. He got found out. He got found out massively. And then you even look at a fight against Guido Vianello, and I don't even put Guido Vianello at that higher rank, but Guido Vianello was quicker than him, a better boxer than him, and just outworked him. Ultimately gets the stoppage through a doctor's decision, but he was beating on Arslanbek Makhmudov at that point. Arslanbek Makhmudov likes an opponent that's stationary, a guy that's standing in front of you, a guy that you can just, throw hands with. The last two opponents, Ricardo Brown and Dave Allen, they were that for Arslanbek Makhmudov. They were stationary opponents. These guys aren't bouncing around the ring, being mobile, coming in and out of the pocket, making it hard for you to land shots, constantly pestering with the jab. These guys are guys that stand in front of you and try and throw bombs with you. And that's where Makhmudov strives. Unfortunately for Makhmudov, that's not what Tyson Fury does. Tyson Fury is that electric, bouncy movement fighter. He's going to be pestering constantly with that jab. That's barely even a jab at points. Sometimes it's just a slapping hand to move the guard out. But I don't see Makhmudov in a fight where Tyson Fury is switched on and Tyson Fury is ready and Tyson Fury is bouncing around, moving around the ring, fighting his best fight. Makhmudov doing anything to be able to stop him. Early rounds, maybe. Early rounds, he can close the distance. He can take a few shots and get in close and try and land that big overhand right. That is the best way to victory for Makhmudov. But I think it comes in a 4-round gap. I think this fight goes past 4 rounds. I think Makhmudov slows. The power's not there anymore. And Tyson Fury is well and truly on top and either strives to a stoppage victory or strives to a decision victory. And there's no probably way that I see Makhmudov getting a late stoppage against Tyson Fury. I just don't think he has the gas tank. I don't think he's going to have the cardio. I don't think he's got the boxing acumen to actually run with a guy like Tyson Fury. So for Makhmudov, his best strategy in this fight is come out electric, waste all of your energy in 5 rounds trying to get the guy out of there. Hope that Tyson Fury has come in a little bit complacent, because you land a shot. We've seen many times over this career of Tyson Fury, in the good fights and the bad fights, it's not a difficult thing to land shots on Tyson Fury. Don't act like Tyson Fury is this unbelievable defensive fighter. He's this untouchable elite fighter. He gets hit very, very regularly. I mean, almost got stopped against Alexander Usyk. Even in the wins against Deontay Wilder, I mean, 3 fights with Deontay Wilder and he got dropped 4 times, 3 times or 4 times over the course of that fight. That's not a great sort of stat to be looking at. That isn't a guy that is an unbelievable, untouchable defensive fighter. So to say Makhmudov's not going to be able to land the shot would be incorrect. But I think it would be difficult. I think after the first few rounds, it's going to get harder, because Makhmudov isn't as quick or as agile as Alexander Usyk was, or what Deontay Wilder was at that point. Deontay Wilder at that point was able to land that right hand with precision, power, and absolute elite speed, and he was still able to get up from those punches. So Makhmudov's really going to be able to have to push this guy against the ropes, get in close, and start ripping into him with overhand rights, with body shots, just trying to find a hole in Tyson Fury's armor. But Tyson Fury is very good on the inside, very good at clinching, and very good at holding on. So I think Arslanbek Makhmudov is most definitely up against it in this fight. Don't get me wrong. I think it's a very outsider chance that Makhmudov gets a win in this fight. There is a reason they've picked Makhmudov as the opponent. There's a reason that Tyson Fury said, I'm going to come in, I'm going to take on Makhmudov. Makhmudov, though, don't also act the same way as, all right, he's just going to go in and win this fight. Tyson Fury, that is going to be a tough fight. Makhmudov can cause this guy a problem. Makhmudov can land a shot. Makhmudov isn't a complete bum, but I think he's very much up against it. I just don't see Makhmudov winning the fight, but at the same time, I probably didn't see Tyson Fury getting dropped by Francis Ngannou. I probably didn't see him just escaping that fight. So there's a lot of factors going into this fight. I think ultimately Tyson Fury gets a late stoppage. I'm talking round 7 to round 11, or he gets the decision. I think it just depends on how seriously Tyson Fury is taking this fight will predicate the way we see this fight outgoing. But if my official prediction will be a round 9 TKO victory for Tyson Fury, I think after those opening few rounds, by the time Makhmudov gets it out and Tyson Fury's bouncing around the ring, outboxing him a bit like Adric Caballero did early in that fight. Guido Vianello was able to find success later in that fight. It wasn't even exceptional boxing. We're talking about a guy that really has no defense to a simple 1-2. So for Tyson Fury, I do see a victory coming for him, but don't act as though this is going to be straightforward. If there's a surprise on the weekend, I did warn you. I think this fight here, if Tyson Fury approaches it wrong, it's a very, very dangerous fight. This isn't a guy that's got pillows for hands, Makhmudov. This is a guy that, for those opening few rounds, will be throwing absolutely all of those 260 pounds into every single punch, and it only takes one. Like I said, Buster Douglas did it to Mike Tyson in 1990, so don't be surprised, guys. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think. I have been very busy with work, so I do apologize. That is why this one hasn't been more in-depth, and that's why there hasn't been as much content. If you want to make the content better, please do subscribe. It does help the channel. Once we can hit that threshold of making some monetization off these videos, I'll be able to give more and more time to these videos. But please do like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave all your thoughts in the comments below. I'm out of here, guys. See ya!